All right, today I've got a question for you that almost no one asks honestly, even though it explains a huge amount of burnout, self sabotage, or stalled momentum. What if your ambition, that burning hunger to create, evolve, explore, move beyond where you are, what if that isn't the problem? What if your nervous system simply can't hold it all yet? So, most people will assume that when they feel overwhelmed by their goals, it means that they're aiming too high, or they're pushing too hard, or they're wanting the wrong things, or that it's wrong to even want. I've heard that one too. They start negotiating their vision downward, watering it down, not because it was ever wrong, but because something inside of them kept bracing, tightening, or collapsing whenever they try to move toward it. Very often, the vision, the desire, the ambition itself is sound. What's missing is the biological infrastructure required to carry it. Ambition creates pressure. We call that load. Ambition creates real load, not metaphorical load, physiological load. Time pressure, deadlines, visibility, bigger stage, responsibility, accountability, decision density, uncertainty, social evaluation. All of that is going to land directly in the nervous system long before it becomes a mindset issue. If you've never really looked at how your system behaves when demands stack up, there's a short somatic quiz that we use that can make these patterns visible really quickly. It won't tell you what you want or the right vision to have. It'll show you when you set a big goal, what your system does when it's asked to carry more than it's used to. And those differences matter. So here's the core problem that many will not see. They try to expand ambition faster than they expand containment. So they'll increase vision, opportunity, responsibility, identity, without upgrading the structures that need to hold all of that. And when the system starts to crack and break down, they'll assume that something is wrong with their desire instead of recognizing it as a capacity mismatch. Functional containment is the missing piece. By containment, I don't mean emotional suppression or willpower. I mean the nervous system's ability to stay present as internal and external pressures rise. Structure that doesn't collapse, breath that doesn't disappear or get retained, attention that doesn't fragment or fixate when too many things matter at once. Without those things, ambition doesn't feel exciting. It feels threatening and heavy. And this is why so many ambitious, visionary people will oscillate between intensity and exhaustion or fear. They'll push hard, they'll hit momentum, and then they'll suddenly pull back and stall. They'll reduce everything, they'll regulate, recover, recalibrate, they'll try again. And progress will happen in bursts, but never really in a smooth developmental arc. So what it will look like is they're essentially traveling the same 5 miles up and back again and again, never really moving beyond that range. And that's not a motivation problem, it's an infrastructure problem. Think about what ambition, especially like a hungry appetite to see what you're really capable of, or a burning mission, what that actually asks of the body. It asks you to tolerate uncertainty without freezing, to stay present while being seen and evaluated harshly, to make decisions without perfect information, to carry responsibility for being right, wrong, accountable, without leaking anxiety into everything else, to stay coherent when stakes feel personal. Each one of those demands increases internal pressure. Heart rate will change, your breath pattern will shift, Even the musculature, the structure of your body will reorganize. Your attention, even the neural networks of your brain change. Your stress hormones rise. If your system doesn't have containment for that kind of pressure, it will find ways to discharge it. Procrastination, avoidance, overregulation, self-doubt, perfectionism, distraction, even losing interest in things that you previously cared deeply about. Not because you're lazy or afraid of success or that you're not cut out for it, but because the load exceeded the structure and now it's time to train differently. This is why people will unconsciously, they'll downsize their ambition after a few hard pushes. They'll tell themselves a really neat story that they want a simpler life or less visibility or fewer responsibilities. And sometimes that's true, but often it's just the nervous system protecting itself from overload. Containment changes that equation. When containment is present, ambition stops feeling like a constant threat. Pressure doesn't immediately trigger bracing. Complexity doesn't overwhelm your attention. Responsibility doesn't feel personal in the same way. So you won't have to emotionally hype yourself up. You won't need better affirmations. You don't need to believe in yourself more. You need a body that can actually carry what you're asking of it. This is also where a lot of personal development advice quietly fails. It will focus on clarity, vision, mindset, execution, without addressing the biological cost of expansion. So people are taught to think bigger or be more without being taught how to hold bigger. So they grow faster than they can stabilize. Containment is what makes ambition sustainable. It's what allows you to increase load without increasing fragility. It's what allows you to take on more without becoming chronically reactive, brittle, or depleted. It's what turns ambition from a cycle of push and recover into something you can actually stand inside. This is why we're so freaking passionate about this work and why in our book, Becoming the Grand Formidable, link in the description, the substrate always comes first. Architecture precedes aspiration. You build the internal structures, physical, respiratory, attentional, so that ambition becomes inhabitable instead of aspirational. You know, if you're going to build castles in the sky, just build the bridge that supports it. This is also why inside the Prestige, ambition is never trained in abstraction. It's trained under conditions that apply real demand, time pressure, relational complexity, uncertainty. Not necessarily just to overwhelm people, but to reveal where containment or edges hold or where they don't. And then to build more deliberately. Because here's the quiet truth that most people eventually discover the hard way. If your nervous system can't hold your ambition, your vision, the mission that compels you, you will eventually abandon it, distort it, or you'll turn it against yourself. And that doesn't mean that you weren't meant for it or it wasn't meant for you. It's because you tried to spend capacity that you hadn't built yet. Functional containment is what will make ambition healthy, survivable, thrivable. And thrivable ambition is what turns into real power. If your goals feel heavy instead of energizing, or you notice that you keep oscillating and watering down the game, the answer probably isn't to want less. It's to build the body that can carry more. If this resonates with you, please do like and subscribe. Helps the channel out. Consider training with us in the season of the Prestige, and I'll see you next time.